Good morning. Welcome to episode number 6. Pretty soon I won't be able to use hands to say what episode we're on of your bucket list accelerator. It is a time that we get ready in the morning together. We talk about all those like financial news and information that's coming at you and how you filter through that, get through that noise so that you can continue on your journey to financial freedom. I thought this would be a great idea because my time in the morning of getting ready is my time of some quiet, listen to a podcast, maybe listen to some music. That's that kind of calm time of my day. And a lot of people feel that way. Well, why not pair it with some financial literacy, talk about some things in a stress-free environment, because I know finance can be very stressful for many people. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, before I jump into our 3 topics, which I really am happy with these 3 topics, I think they'll be really interesting. Just to give you a preview, we're going to talk about the volatility in the markets, oil markets, all that stuff, because we're still in the Iran conflict going on, war, whatever you want to call it. We're going to go through a Federal Trade Commission crackdown on some gurus out there. Very interesting. And our 3rd topic, which I have forgotten, so I'm going to look at, is the Agentic AI era and how AI and your finances might mix together. So if that sounds good to you, that's going to be our topics. But I'm going to take just a couple minutes to just rant a little bit. Hopefully that's okay with you. I'm going to set my alarm here too, because I'm really trying to keep to that 35 minute time frame. But I'm going to rant for just a couple of minutes from a couple of conversations I had this morning. So I'm not taping this until 10:30 because my phone was blowing up with conversations. Some clients, some not clients, doesn't matter. But 3 kind of rules came up a lot. And I thought that this might be helpful for many people out there just to kind of keep this stuff in mind. And so I'll go on a rant for a couple of minutes. How does that sound? Does that sound good? Okay, before I get into that, I just want to tell you what I already have on my face. I already prepped some stuff. So I put this Tula Skincare Rose Glow and Get It Balm. This is what it looks like. Under my eyes to kind of take out some creases. It's pretty much clear. But it's kind of a nice cooling process. And then I put on, I didn't put the top back on. That would have been horrible. I put on this CL Bronze and Protect SPF 50. Actually, maybe I should show you what it looks like because I've used it a lot. And then I don't show you what it looks like. And I put this on as a base. It's kind of the bronzy look it has. I put this on as a base under my makeup to just kind of start that process of evening things out. I am kind of red, especially in this area, which I'm sure a lot of people are, so I do that. I put on my eyes, I'm sure it's already kind of creasing because it's been a minute because I was playing with a mic that didn't work, of course. So back to my old mic, this Gerard Cosmetics eye primer. So I put that on my eyelids. I have on my lips one of my favorites, which is this Pharmacy Lip Smoothie in Apple. It is just divine. They're expensive, but man, I like these a lot. Now, they only have smell. There's no taste to them, which some people like, some people don't like. And then I'm going to go in with my primer, which is this Maybelline Poreless Jelly Primer. So that's what it looks like there. And we'll go into the T-zone with this. Okay, so let me start on my rant. As we've gotten into some of the other stuff, the fun stuff off the table here. So a lot of my conversations, now obviously people are upset about the markets, although the markets have bounced back quite a bit as of mid-April. But, people are seeing their March statements and that kind of thing. I think one mistake a lot of people are still doing is they're waiting for paper statements to be sent to them. I think that's a mistake because you're getting statements in the middle of April for the end of March. Things have shifted quite a bit in the market on the upside. Now it could also go down, of course. And so you're not really seeing anything in real time, not even close to real time. I mean, we're at almost tax day, which is April 15th. So you're seeing old news, getting upset about stuff and then not having the full picture. So I really want to say to everybody out there, please create an online portal. I'm not talking to my clients, I'm talking to everybody. Online portals are so important because people don't realize that companies, we work with Fidelity and Schwab and, other companies out there, they don't like sending paper statements anymore because it's your account number on there. They feel like it's unsafe. They want to protect your stuff, which I love that they want to protect your stuff. And they are really cutting back on statements that they're sending. And so you're not getting your full picture all the time. Also, people have this idea that online portals are all for those people that want to check their accounts every day. That's not necessarily the case. Things are moving in that direction where you have to get into your online portals to sign off on documents, to approve transactions, to all that stuff. It's really important to have that set up. So I really would encourage you to get online portals set up. It's safer for you. You can get all your statements, every statement you could ever desire off of that online portal. So I really suggest people do that. The second thing I want to talk about is comparing yourself to others. I had this kind of a conversation just yesterday. So, people say, well, I talked to my friend and she's only down this much and I'm down this much and they have this much money and I have this much money and blah, blah, blah. Like this kind of stuff happens. I really encourage people to not do that. As I rant, I really should probably kind of get going. So I'm going to start with this RMS Sun Cover Up Super Tint Super Hydrant with SPF Broad Spectrum Sunscreen 50. And this is it, RMS. I did a little shake already. And I have it in Buff. You know what's interesting about shades is, different companies, of course, have different shades and stuff. So that's what it looks like. It's kind of runny, so I don't want to have it get everywhere. And I'm going to use my Nikki LaRose BK Beauty 517 brush. I find that this has, because it's a little bit more sturdy of a brush, it really helps and works with skin tints well. But I have found that this works great and put this on. But okay, so let me go back to my rant. So when you're comparing yourself to other people consistently when it comes to finance, like I have this, my accounts are doing this, it's very dangerous because you don't know what those people have. And I know when I say those people, I make it sound like it's bad. These are your friends. I get that. But you don't know how they're invested, their risk tolerance compared to yours, what extra different things they're invested in. Maybe they have more real estate in their portfolio than you do. Maybe they have longer term bonds, which can be riskier. You just don't know. And so to compare and say, well, they're only down this much or they're only up this much and I'm up this much is really dangerous to do. It's a really bad way of looking at performance. You should look at it according to benchmarks, which could be, the S&P 500, but keep that in mind too, is that the S&P 500 is the top 500 US stocks. So if you have international, if you have bonds, if you have, your account's not going to perform to that same level because you don't own the top 500 companies. It's going to be different. So you just want to kind of keep that stuff in mind when you're doing that, and have realistic expectations on that. So I would say, I have a whole video that I did many years ago about, listening to Bob on the on the golf course, and you don't know what Bob has, and Bob talks about this great investment that's done, XYZ amount, and you feel left out and all this stuff. And this happens not just with guys on the golf course, it happens with everybody. And the problem with that is Bob is not telling you all the other investments that might not have done as well. He's just talking about the winners. And it's not because he's a bad person. He's, your friend and you still like him and everything. But it's just what it is people tend to want to focus and show knowledge, and they're going to show it with that. So, okay, I think that looks really nice. It's a very light coverage. It's a skin tint, so I don't expect it to be super high coverage, but it's light coverage, which is nice. All right, I'm going to move on to eyes. And then I'm going to start with, in the waterline, my ColourPop in Honeydew. I put, that probably is not going to show up for you guys, kind of. Put this in the waterline down here just so I look like I got some sleep. Which got some sleep last night, but not as much as I probably needed. So that is my second part of my rant. And my third part of my rant is expecting the markets to do the work for you. If you don't save, like doing the basics of saving and putting money away, whether it's in an investment account, I'm not telling you where to put it, but saving is your part. That's the part you can control. To expect the markets to make up for it because you, I'm going to be mean, don't want to save, that's not realistic. It's not. And that is just not realistic. You should expect a reasonable rate of return. You should expect, some up and downs with the market and that kind of thing. And the market is supposed to be, hopefully, a boost to what you're doing. And sometimes it's not a boost, right? We have bad markets and you go, oh my gosh, I saved all this money. It went away. Didn't really go away unless you sold, of course. We go through all that with people when things are down. But I do think that many people think the market is going to do the work for you. If you don't save, even if you don't save, it's not going to be helpful. You're just not going to get to where you want to go. Let's just put it that way. You're not going to get to where you want to go if you don't put in any effort. Bottom line. And income to me is not an excuse. I've had many people who make very little income, live in California in very expensive states, and they still save a very high percentage of their take home. Might not be, $500,000 like people think they have to save, but you're looking at the percentage of your take home and they're able to make it work. So income, no excuse. Okay. All right. That's my rant. Hopefully that helps some people out there. I'm going to go in with the faux brow L'Oreal Paris brow pencil. I think this is in up to 2-day brow tint pen. 2 days? Who's doing that? Okay. And I have no idea what color this is. I will try to find it and put it in the description below. But I'm usually trying to go under the second highest because I do have darker lashes. But these pens are very tricky. If you've not used these, don't press very hard because it really can make a mess in your brows. So hopefully that helped some people out there. If anything, you got to see me have a rant that I just had with my husband earlier, and now you get to experience the rant as well. So, but I think that's all extremely helpful information for people to have. And this is not about don't call me if you have these concerns. No, I mean, I expect clients to call me when they have issues come up. But I think setting realistic expectations and processes in place is really important for yourself when you're working with an advisor or anybody else. So that is that. I'm going to take a little spoolie and just kind of gently push them up a little bit. Make this look a little bit more natural. Okay, that works. I have found that the spoolie is such a good tool for when you mess up on your brows. So, okay, we're going to move on to eyeshadow and eyes on that side of it. I'm going to go into the crease with this, and I'm going to use this as my bronzer too, this Tuscan Tan 02 Baked Bronzer by Milani. This is the new one that they have. It's very pretty. It's much more pigmented than I thought it was going to be. But that's kind of what it looks like. It's very cool toned kind of deal. And I'm going to go in with that with this. I don't know what that one was. With the BK Beauty 212 brush. And we'll go into the right above the crease with this. And then I'll put on my shadow. Okay, so let's go into topic number 1, the shiny object topic. Okay, let me finish this and I'll pick up my paper so I can go through it, and then I'll give you my thoughts on the topic after that. Okay, that's not completely blended out, but I will get to it. Okay, topic number 1 is the energy spike and the markets, especially with, oil prices going to 100 and back and over 100 and back. So U.S. markets are currently navigating a little wobbly as a temporary ceasefire in the Middle East kind of is in place. I don't quite know what the status of that is. NASDAQ is hitting highs thanks to AI chips and other things that are pushing it forward. But the Dow, does kind of feel the pressure sometimes of the 100 plus oil prices. Now, we haven't seen that the last couple of days, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be the norm. There's no norm for the markets. I should take that back. There's no norm for the markets. But there was a massive surge in energy stocks like ConocoPhillips and Valero. And this is the shiny object, right? Semiconductors hitting all-time high, and so people are now starting to chase that rally. And you and I have talked about rallies before, and we'll get into it again. Volatility is the name of the game. It's going to be volatile. If you start to chase areas of the market that are doing well rather than being diversified before those areas hit, it can really cause a problem. So, how do we keep a cool head about us when things like this are going on? Let's talk about it that way. So I would say that it is all about preparing for times like this before they happen. Now, I don't mean preparing knowing that there's going to be an Iraq war or Iraq. Wow, that took me back. Iran war or conflict. I don't mean that you should have known that was going to happen. It was talked about, but we didn't know what was going on. So I'm going to go in with this Tower 28 in Rosy. These are really pretty. I heard one of the makeup people I talked to watch on YouTube. You can tell I'm in a way today. On YouTube, talking about how she doesn't like these, that they just burn her eyes. I've had the complete opposite, and I have very oily eyelids. So, it'll be interesting to see if any of you have this. But this is the color. It's super pretty. And I've had no problem. It is a jelly kind of cooling consistency. And then it just kind of dries down. And I haven't had any, of the sparkle get under my eyes, which I have that issue. I used one of the Urban Decay Moon Dust shadows yesterday, and they're beautiful, but they do get under my eye quite a bit. So I haven't had that issue with these. I think they're super pretty. You can kind of see how they look in the eyes. And they build up on themselves pretty well. So I've really liked these. I actually got one. I think I got Viper originally, and I went back and got a whole bunch of others. You do have to keep the little cap to put on here so they don't dry out. That's really important, but that's good. I like it. And then we're going to go in with the Stay and Play gel eyeliner in Essence. I love these things. And this is in, but first Espresso. So that's the color right there. So, and I'll use that later for under my eyes. Okay, so when you're hearing by energy, by all that kind of stuff, you want to look and see if you already own it. You might already own it from the funds you already have. or pieces of it. So that's one thing. The other thing you want to consider when you are looking at this kind of stuff is if you're chasing a rally, are you already too late? That is another consideration, right? You might already be too late for the rally that is in play right now. And so is it worth buying high to get a little chunk when it could very well go down from there? That's the honest truth of it all. So go a little heavier on the eyeliner when I have such a light shadow on, just because I feel like it needs a little depth in there. That's such a nice eyeliner. Okay. And I think it's like $4 or $5. It's really nice eyeliner. And I haven't had any smudging issues or anything like that transferring up here. I haven't had that issue with these. So in the meantime, I'm going to move on to mascara. That is what this is called, is mascara. This is the Thrive Liquid Lash Extenders Mascara in Bryn. And this is a tubing mascara. I think this was one of the first tubing mascaras out there. And it's really nice. Oh, you know what I should do? Instead of that, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to do concealer. I'm going to do the eyeshadow or eyeliner under my eyes first, and then I'll do that. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of color corrector, just where I need it here. This is the e.l.f. Soft Glam Brightening Correcting that goes on. This is a really pretty, it's nice because it's peachy pink, whereas sometimes if it's too pink, it just doesn't do well for me. So which brush do I want to use? I'll use this one. This is the, oh, did I grab one already? Oh, I grabbed one already. Forget that. This is the BK Beauty and Nikki LaRose N14 brush. So I'm going to use that to go under and just kind of keep it right where it's supposed to be. Okay, so remember, chasing trends and things you're hearing in the financial markets is not always the right thing to do. Okay, let's move on to subject number 2, which is personal finance news. Actually, let me put my concealer on first. And then this is the Maybelline Eraser Concealer, Corrector Multi-Usage. And this is in 120. I think I've said this before, but I don't like the applicator of this thing. But I don't think anybody does. So that's the color. And I might just go directly on the eye, which I've been avoiding doing lately. But this one is so serum-y that I think it might actually work out a little bit for that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to go blend it out. So while I have all this on my face, I will go through the next topic. Next topic is the Federal Trade Commission crackdown on gurus. I think this is an awesome story, by the way. Okay, so they just announced a $1.5 million settlement and permanent ban against high-profile both MLM participants and income coaches for making deceptive six-figure earning claims. This is the people that are online. This is the, come have, wine night with us and we'll tell you about how we've made so much money doing XYZ and you can do that too within a year and all that stuff. And what is happening is the shiny object is this manifestation of wealth that's being talked about. Have you ever seen those gurus, those money gurus who are always on a beach? They're always on a beach, right? they're always on a beach and they're, taking vacations all the time and sipping cocktails and, driving Ferraris. And they try to make you think that if you buy their program, you too will have that lifestyle. I really don't like that. I think that is so deceptive. And I'm so happy they're doing this. So they are talking about, these gurus talk about manifestation of wealth through high ticket side hustles. And they sell these big programs. You'll make no less than 6 figures in 2026 or 2027 by proving their proven roadmap and joining they call it Millionaires Club. I've heard this from, I don't know how many people. It's crazy. So basically, the FTC, or the Federal Trade Commission, is saying that this is over. We're done with this. Most participants are losing in these schemes. They earn zero money or they lose money because they have to put money into it. They're not following these programs. And, really, we have to look at, and, when it comes to the multi-level marketing stuff, now I'm not talking about this completely. Obviously, every company is different, but I have heard of so many of these multi-level marketing companies go out. That is such a nice concealer. That just took no time at all. And I got coverage and everything. I don't know why you don't use that more. That is a great concealer, because I hate this component. That's why. But it is a really nice concealer. Okay, that's on. Then we're going to do smudging under the eyes really quick. And then I will go in with mascara. Okay, so I'm going to do my, this really went down. Okay, I got to put more on. So I have been against this for a long time. I think this is false advertising, this kind of thing of, again, this is that espresso Essence eye pencil I used on the top side. I just use it underneath just to put a little color underneath the eyes to cover up redness that we all have under our eyes here. And this little smudger brush, the N21 BK Beauty and Nikki LaRose collaboration, this is a really, such a fine little tip, and you really can get under there without putting too much color. Like, you don't want to look like a harsh line under your eyes. Okay, so that's done. Now we'll move on to mascara. Wow, that does not want to come off. No wonder that stuff doesn't smudge on me. I can hardly get the the eye pencil off my hand. Okay, that's been sitting there for a while. Okay, now we're going to go on with the Thrive makeup. So I would say, if you hear, and this is a true statement, and this goes back to my rant that I went on before, if you hear something that sounds too good to be true, I'm not going to say it is always too good to be true, because that's not true. But you have to do research. You cannot just take somebody's advice. And you have to see what works for you. And this manifestation, I mean, I listen to Tony Robbins a lot, and he always talks about this manifestation thing is, you can't manifest stuff. You can put yourself in the right mindset. You can, put certain action items in place. You can do a lot of other stuff with your mind, but this manifestation idea is not, it's not going to get you anywhere. You can get all the information you want. You can take all the classes you want, and that is not going to necessarily get you to financial freedom. It's all about doing the work, as I said before. So if you aren't doing the work, you are not going to get the results you want. And even if you get the results, let's say you do, how much of that is in your control? It might not be very much, because you didn't put together your plan, your finances, your situation, brick by brick. And so how much of that is actually yours to be able to control during down times, during hard times, during all of that. So oftentimes I hear people say, money coach, and I have nothing against money coaches at all. I think there's a lot of behavioral stuff that I just don't have the background, the capability, all that stuff to be involved with. But I would say that when they say we can make you lots of money doing this program, doing that, doing the other thing, it's never about that. If you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk talk about how to build wealth, he's always talking about the hustle that is involved. Kevin O'Leary, Tom Bilyeu, all these people, who's the other one? They all talk about you do have to work, you do have to hustle. And if you're just buying programs and expecting this guru to teach you how to do it, it's not going to play out in your favor, and you're not going to necessarily have the control you need to keep it going. So I'm going to go in for bronzer / contour with this Too Faced chocolate bronzer. What is this called? Chocolate Mousse. Oh, that's the name. Chocolate Mousse Melting Bronzer and Contour Stick. This is the packaging. It's so pretty. And this is the color I have. Like I said, it's chocolate mousse, and it's kind of just warm enough to not look too gray on my face. I have that kind of neutral Milani bronzer I'm going to use. So that was not good. So we'll see. Okay. So just know that there are lots of, I did actually a video about financial schemes out there, and I'm going to use this 107 from BK Beauty brush. And there are a lot of financial fraud out there. And a lot of people say, oh, it's, old people getting taken advantage of by people sending an email or by other things. And actually, it's being shown that a lot of scams are happening to younger and younger people because A, they're not paying attention to stuff as much as they should, which I get, we're all busy. But also, people are getting taken in by some of this stuff. And again, this is not an attack on multi-level marketers or any, gurus out there. There's some great ones out there, but it's all about what you're going to put into it. And so the FTC can go after these people as much as they want, but how much are you going to put into it? How much are you going to use the tool to make your money? Okay. Last one is this agentic AI era. So we've officially moved past the chatbots as being our AI, and now we're moving into a trend that is agentic AI, which is autonomous digital coworkers that don't just write emails and do that stuff for you, but they actually execute trades and manage your accounting. You probably know what I'm going to say about this, but the shiny object is promise you'll never have to look at a spreadsheet again, that you'll never have to really manage your portfolios or look at your bills. It's all going to get taken care of for you. And on top of that, I read, I think it was MasterCard and Visa. I don't know for sure, so don't quote me on that. But a lot of these credit card companies are also getting involved with this, where they have these AI tools that will buy for you. By what they think that you will want. So I'm going to go in with this. I keep opening it and then having it close again. This fwee, I don't know what the name of it is, but these are these pots that have, that you can use for both your cheeks and lips. I'm just going to use it for my cheeks in Chillin'. Very pretty color here. Kind of a dusty rose color. Okay. So I'm going to go in with this, and this is just the small tapered powder brush from Profusion, the PD4 brush. Take that, kind of get it on the brush evenly and get on my cheeks. But relying on technology is kind of the same thing as relying on these guru programs to make you wealthy. It is going to be problematic, is my opinion on it. Just because technology is so, and this technology in particular is so new to us. AI in general is so new to us. So it kind of does that kind of burnt sun look, I guess. Let me do a little bit more. But relying on AI to do this stuff, to purchase for you, this could be a huge problem in terms of being able to control your budget, being able to, and you might say, well, technology will control my budget. It'll be fine. Nobody can, how do I put this? You are going to be the best thing for you. And these technologies have to be managed. You cannot just let them do whatever they want to do. They're not human, first and foremost. And I'm going to take a break. And actually, I did get that eyelash curler, this heated one, so I'm going to turn it on. Again, it was just $10. As I said, don't say that. That's very dangerous to do. But it's really nice, and I've liked the way it gives me lift without... I always have a problem with those eyelash curlers because they always pinch. Maybe it's my eye shape. I don't know what it is, but I don't like them. So I'm going to go in with some powder while that's warming up. I'm going to go in with the Makeup by Mario Fair Pink in Surreal Skin. And I'm just going to take a little bit on brush. I'll just use this one. So I'm going to just go back in with that N14 brush here. Just do a little in the T-zone. But I would say that be very careful when you're letting technology take over your daily life, especially for subjects that are stressful or challenging for you. It probably is stressful and challenging for a reason. I hate to say it, but maybe there's something out there that it's challenging, and it could help you grow. It could help you build the life you want to get. Just because something's challenging does not mean you shouldn't do it. So that's my 2 cents. I just took this, is it SN20 Nikki LaRose BK Beauty Brush, and just kind of dusted off the excess off, especially under my eyes. That powder. Okay. Then we're going to finish up. We're going to do lashes, bronzer, lips, and then we're good to go. But I don't know. Technology, I'm excited about AI. I use AI, in a reasonable way now. However, I think allowing AI to just take over your entire system without any kind of monetization, which is what's going to happen. So, see, just kind of built that up so easily. You just want to make sure you don't put it too hot, and just go really slow with this eyelash curler. Okay. It is getting to that point that I need to change out my mascaras. I think they're all starting to get a little clumpy. So at that mark. And then I'm going to go in with lips. Yeah, lips. So this is the Anastasia, this way, Anastasia lip pencil in Dusty Rose. These are really slept on lip pencils, in my opinion, on this. So I'm going to put a little bit of this Makeup Forever Aqua Seal on it, just to make it waterproof for right now, and go in with it. I have found that Aqua Seal really helps make lip pencils really creamy and easy to get on. as well. Smudge that out a little bit. Such a pretty color, and like I said, such a good pencil that is slept on, in my opinion. And I'm going to finish up with the Makeup by Mario mini that I have here in Aaron. Oh, I didn't show you the color of the Dusty Rose. I should have. So that's the color of the eye pencil, of the lip pencil. This is Aaron. Very matte, which I'm okay with. I'm getting, like I told you my trick last time, so that's Aaron on top there, about putting some kind of non-shiny lip balm has really helped with these matte lipsticks and everything kind of feel better on my lips. Awesome. Okay. And if I wanted more color, I could always put this fwee on top, but I think I'm good. I think I'm happy with this. And then we'll do bronzer and done. Okay. So we went through 3 pretty varied topics. You heard me rant, which is, why you come, right? To hear me rant about stuff. And as women, we always have something we could rant about. And this is a nice tool to be able to utilize to do that, meaning this video series. That looks so nice. It is a really nice bronzer. I would say, it's funny. I was looking at the Say bronzers that are out too. This feels very similar to that. If you're looking for that feeling, because I touched that Say bronzer, of course, immediately. I was like, I want it because of the feel of it. But that feels just as nice, and it's like half the price, I believe. So, all right. So then we're going to go in with the Cali Ray Sunproof. And awesome. So today you heard me rant. We talked about gurus and, making sure you don't fall for their stuff. Here, I'll put on some earrings here. And also, talking about AI, how it's exciting, but at the same time, you don't want it to overtake everything for you. And we talked about the markets, which is always going to be a wobbly topic because the markets are always kind of wobbly. But it's about the long haul, the long picture. So with that, I think the makeup look turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I might put a little bit more blush on. We shall see. But until next time, stay safe out there. Be strong. Be kind to one another. Let me start that again. That did not go well. Be safe. Be strong. Be kind to one another. And have a wonderful week. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.